Good afternoon. It is Friday. I actually have today off from work and I've also got a couple days off early next week. So I'm having a long weekend. And this weekend, we're going to spend some time in London. We're going to read, we're going to paint, maybe do some writing and just have a really wholesome autumn weekend. And I thought I'd bring you along with me. I am heading out to London soon, but before I went, I wanted to pop on and say hello. And also I wanted to mention, I have started reading this book. Now, I read the first one in a previous video, which I will tag somewhere up here or in the description below. And I really enjoyed it, so I got the second one. My initial plan was to start this book in this video, but I got too excited and I've already read some of it. I'm about a third of the way through and I already have some thoughts. However, I'm going to let them settle into my brain first before I can voice them. So I would definitely be speaking more on this tomorrow. But in the meantime, I'm going to finish getting ready and then I'm going to take you along with me into London. We're going to go for dinner, we're going to go to a theatre show and make the most out of this autumn weekend. Good afternoon. So the theatre show yesterday was actually really good. They did change the story a little bit, so it wasn't the exact same as the original movie. I definitely preferred the original story, but that being said, the theatre show itself was really good. The singers were great, and it actually reminded me, firstly, how long it's been since I've been to a theatre show, and secondly, how much I actually enjoyed them. So it's something that I might do more often because I really enjoyed it. Now, yesterday I mentioned that I wanted to speak a little bit about this book and my first thoughts. So let's get into that. Firstly, this book is written from, I think, 3 people's perspectives. So we've got 3 characters and we get each of their POVs, whereas the first book was just focused on one. Now, usually I don't enjoy this in a book because I find it a bit difficult to get interested and care about the characters. However, because it's the sequel and I'm already aware of these characters from the first book, I'm finding it quite enjoyable to read because we get to see their perspectives and their journeys as well, which is something that I felt was a bit missing from the first book. So I am enjoying that at the moment. There are 3 parts to this book and I have just started the second part. And so far we've got a lot of information from each of the characters and their relationships with each other. And the main quest of the story is going to start now. I do wish the quest started earlier. I understand why the author has put in a lot more focus on the characters' relationships in the first part because that was something that was a little bit missing from the first book. However, I feel like it would have been much enjoyable to read if the quest had already started and then we see the character relationships develop during that as well, rather than the quest feeling like it starts a bit later in the book. So that is something that I would have wanted a bit earlier. There are 2 characters that we know from the first book who you can kind of tell in the first book that there might be something there, so we're definitely exploring that a lot more in this book. However, I feel like because of that, we are missing out on the main romance of the first book. We're not getting as much of that relationship as I would have hoped. But overall, I am enjoying the book and I'm excited to see where it goes. Good morning. I am heading into London again today. I'm actually going to get a tour of the Royal Albert Hall, which is going to be a brand new experience for me. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also going to go shopping. I want to pick up a couple of autumn jumpers and maybe a jacket or two. So we'll see if we manage to pick those up. But other than that, let's head out. Hello. So yesterday's tour was really good. I really enjoyed it. I did not realize how much history there was to not only the Royal Albert Hall but also the whole area around it. So it was really interesting to learn more about it and I found it quite fascinating. So I really enjoyed that and the hall itself was extraordinary. I mean, it was amazing in there and the amount of acts and I think plays that they do there is really cool. So I definitely enjoyed that. I did go shopping, however, I did not get what I intended to get. So I didn't get any of the autumn jumpers or jackets. I actually ended up getting this hoodie and I also got a long skirt. So not what I had originally intended to get, but sometimes that happens. It's fine. Now, I have finished this book. I want to preface this by saying I really enjoyed the book. I think the last clip you saw where I spoke about this was when I had finished part 1 of the book. And once I started part 2, I very swiftly moved through it all the way to the end. So I definitely enjoyed it. It had me hooked. I really enjoyed the quest. I still stand by my previous statement that the quest should have possibly started a bit earlier so that we had a bit more of it and also so that we had a bit more of the ending kind of resolutions as well, because not that they were rushed, but I just felt like more time could have been spent on those. So I still stand by that. However, the quest itself, the journey to the villain of the story, who in this case was the Spirit of the Wood, the journey to that character and actually seeing the Spirit of the Wood as well, I really like how that worked and how the author kind of tied it all together. I think it worked super well with the story. I really enjoyed that. There is one thing that I feel robbed of. Now, in the first book, we get this romance between Raven and Elspeth. However, it's quite a slow burn and we only really get a lot of it towards the end of the book. And in this book, I was really hoping we would get more of that romance. And we didn't. The romance was largely focused on 2 other characters, Ione and Elm, which I really love to see. I think they work very well together. However, I feel robbed of the romantic relationship between Raven and Elspeth because that is what I really wanted to see more of. You kind of get glimpses of it and you get a bit of it towards the end, but other than that, it's not really there. So that one I feel kind of robbed of and I definitely wanted more from that. However, overall, the book was really good. I definitely enjoyed it. I think the quest side of this book was probably better. However, I preferred the first book overall.
simply because I think the romance of that book started the whole story in the first place. So I definitely enjoyed the first book more. This book I am going to give, I would say, a 4-star rating. I think I would definitely read both of the duology again. It's definitely like an autumn vibe because it's like more on the darker gothic fantasy side of things, but I definitely enjoyed it. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to comment down below what books you've been reading recently, because I am looking for some new reads. Other than that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.